In Management Matters, the 2015 Government Contractor Survey. The federal marketplace stands at the threshold of a new fiscal year, and there's cause for concern. Joining me to explain is Richard LaFleur, partner in charge of industries and markets at Grant Thornton. Rich, your survey covered a lot of ground. Let's start with revenue, profit, and employees. What did your survey find?
Morris, it revealed quite a bit of data that paints a picture of an industry that's facing considerable uncertainty. When about 60% of our respondents are indicating that their revenue is decreasing or flat, that paints a picture of a great deal of uncertainty at the top line. For the 40% that are reflecting increases, I would surmise that most of that increase likely comes from mergers and acquisitions. As for profitability, the survey indicates that the profitability of this industry is really suffering. About 52% of the respondents have profit margins before tax and before interest of less than 5%. And over 90% are earning less than 10% profits, indicating to me that this is becoming a commoditized marketplace that needs to innovate.
What about employees, Rich?
In terms of employees, we look quite a bit at things like the Affordable Care Act, at the cost of doing business and providing your employees with substantial and fair benefits. No real great takeaways on that front. I was actually a little surprised to see that the average health care cost revealed in the survey is 1% or 2% less than it was 2 years ago when we ran the survey.
Generally speaking, the companies that responded to your survey did not have good things to say about the Defense Contract Audit Agency or its contracting officers. Why?
Well, Morris, I think there's a great deal of frustration at play. Speaking from my own client base and our client base, we have clients that are trying to get contracts closed out and costs audited from 7 or 8 years ago. I think a great deal of that stems from a labor shortage and a talent shortage within these organizations. I would also say from a procurement officer standpoint that those procurement officers are most likely feeling constrained as well and having a difficult time even carrying out their business as well.
Now, you also noted the detrimental impact of over-regulation and that things are poised to get worse. Here's an excerpt from your report. The compliance regulations are about to become more costly and more burdensome to contractors if new regulations proposed by the Department of Labor on May 28, 2015 are incorporated into the federal acquisition regulation. Tell me more.
Well, Morris, there's a great deal more oversight coming surrounding systems. There's six elements of systems audits that are now required. This is on top of an already existing set of requirements that have long existed, and I think the marketplace is really just feeling overburdened and really not feeling that there's a payback or any more value arising from that oversight, and let alone the cost to comply.
Rich, we know there's a lot of uncertainty right now. As we speak, lawmakers are trying to hammer out a budget and avoid another government shutdown. Add to that the possibility of new labor regulations and stock reports that look like printouts from an EKG machine. This could be a nightmare for chief financial officers. How can contractors plan for the future?
Well, right now there's quite a bit out there with just a few days looming towards a potential shutdown. We see our clients doing a lot of scenario planning. Most are prepared to manage their way through the shutdown if it does happen, as they had to several years ago. But I do think that it does, management teams that are sitting still can get caught off guard and actually suffer from a client and a labor shortage standpoint.
Richard LaFleur with Grant Thornton. Good luck to all of us. We'll see what happens.
Thank you, Morris.